I love small, specific, quirky museums. And the Germans? Well, they love asparagus. So come along for the wild ride today as we head off to the village of Schrobenhausen to explore its charms, walk its ancient wall, and eventually indulge in the coolest vegetable museum. And as the Germans would say, have some quality Spargelzeit. Good morning, everybody, and I hope you're as excited as I am for what should be a pretty action-packed day. But in all honesty, I have no idea. I've never been to Schrobenhausen and I don't know anyone who has. So it's going to be a bit of an adventure, but I do know two things. Number one, spending my Sunday at the European Museum for Asparagus sounds hilarious. And two, I know how to get there, which I'll share with you now. First off, of course, we're walking to the Munich Hauptbahnhof, its central station, where we're going to pick up a Bayern ticket, which is going to cover all of our public transportation needs for the day. So once we've got that sorted, we'll finally board our train to Ingolstadt, which will take nigh on 40 minutes. We've got a 15-minute connection before we can take our final train to Schrobenhausen. All in all, it's really not that complicated taking two trains in a connection. I know you guys can do that, and we'll be there in about an hour and a half. So let's get going. All right, so that's one train down, one more to go, about a 20-minute wait in between them, so couldn't be easier. We've definitely had much tighter connections.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
All right, much better now. And the nice thing about this connection is not only is it long, but the train's already here, so no stress. And I know for long-time viewers, or at least repeat viewers, this might feel a little bit repetitive that we're always showing the actual logistics in transportation, but I don't know, coming from countries like the UK and the USA where we just don't have a massive rail network that is used this extensively, it just feels really important to me to hammer it home. But for now, let's get on train number 2, and in 18 minutes we'll be in Schrobenhausen, ready for my Spargel Museum. All right, now after you get off the train, what exactly do you do? Well, as always, the train station isn't exactly in the action. It's just how it always is. So you have to walk through a bit of a residential neighborhood as we head over towards the town. Then I do also have a mild disappointment for you. We can't go straight to the Asparagus Museum because it's not quite open yet. It's only open 3 days a week for about 2 hours. But never mind, that will give us time to explore the town and get some lunch. And again, I have no idea what to expect. But before I really let myself explore the town, go on those walks, I am really hungry. It's about lunchtime, so let's get some food. Okay, so that is mission food accomplished. And, you know, I pride myself as a bit of an honest man with all this stuff, and I'll tell you what, I was not exactly excited for the food here in this town. I didn't think it was going to be that great, but the restaurant behind me, I'll put the name on screen now, it was really good. It was genuinely fantastic. I gotta say, I'm in good spirit. I set my expectations a little bit too low, honestly, but for now, before we head to the museum, I really want to get a good view of this town from that Ferris wheel. Just the novelty of it all, I have to. And maybe some cotton candy or some candied nuts. I'm in the mood. I don't know if fair rides freak you guys out as much as they freak me out. Oh, but I hate them.
For babies.
Even when I'm really scared because it's moving so quickly and I don't like it. The view is good though. And one thing you can really get an appreciation of when you're up here are all the man-made stork nests that they have on the roofs. Somebody pointed them out to me at the bottom, but I couldn't really see them. There's a stork right now. I was a little bit worried that there really wouldn't be enough content, but this is hilarious. Love me some Disney knockoffs on these things. All right, so we do at least have one more activity post Ferris wheel, pre-museum, because it's not quite open yet, and that is to walk the old medieval wall, because even though it is mostly demolished, if you look at Google Maps on the satellite imagery, you can still kind of see a ghost of a wall that would have been here, as surrounding this entire town is this tree-lined green space, a wonderful wall walk, just sans wall. And it is not a bad way to spend your time before going to the museum. So let's walk this wall, do a full 360, and then it's Spargelzeit. And I think this very well might be my favorite part of the walk. I doubt the camera even remotely does it justice, but not only do we have the trees, the path, the spring wildflowers, the brook, I can also see just off to my right a little bit of the old medieval wall. There's a lot going on from where I'm sitting, and it is wonderful. And perhaps the most unexpected part of this walk is that they provide a free audio guide. You can get QR codes all around the walk at all the different points of interest that apparently will tell you even more history. That's what you want to know. Now that we've successfully completed 360 degrees of ancient wall walk, it's finally time for the Asparagus Museum to be open. So without further ado, let's go check it out. But one last thing before we actually get to the Spargel Museum, I do need to thank today's sponsor, Lingoda. They're an online language school that connects you with native speakers all around the world in so many time zones. And what's really great about that is it means it could not be easier to schedule a one-on-one or group lesson. This has been incredibly helpful to me in the past, but not as helpful in this past month, where anyone who follows us on Instagram, which you should if you don't, will know that we just spent the last 3 weeks filming in Italy. Now that's not exactly a place I associate with learning German, but since I live here, it's really important to kind of keep up that practice. So whether I was eating pizza in Napoli or hiking to Monteriggione, well, I was able to keep up my German practice. It was fantastic because you need to remember, it's not only teenagers out there who get the summer brain drain, it can happen to us too if we don't keep up our lessons. It was also really helpful when we checked into one of our cool Italian villas when a group of Germans over in the corner were kind of making fun of me for not wearing appropriate hiking footwear. Very German of them. I was wearing running shoes. But because I'd kept up my practice, I was able to join in on the fun and let them know that they worked out just fine. Now that gave them a shock. And so if high quality language lessons given at any time of the day by qualified native speakers sounds interesting to you, then you definitely need to check out Lingoda with our links in the description below and use our code to let them know that you came from us. Now, back to the Asparagus Museum. So I really have absolutely no idea what my expectations were for the Asparagus Museum, but this is a truly glorious entrance, a beautiful compound, all dedicated to the Museum of European Asparagus. So the only thing left is to dive right in. Let's grab our tickets and enter the Asparagus Tower. I also really love these outdoor sculptures that they have of the horses next to like the real vintage plows. I don't know, I'm a big nerd for living history museums, and this is a bit reminiscent of that, so huge fan of this. I mean, no joke, this is absolutely fascinating. The first floor is all centered on the kind of agricultural advancements that have been made, and I hear on the second floor they have art. I'm so excited. It's just so much more interesting than I imagined. It's really cool. The museum is very well done. I mean, I'm not exactly surprised, but this museum is just so much fun. The first floor kind of centered on agriculture, the second on asparagus in the home, from royalty to you. And then lastly, the second floor all about asparagus art it's hilarious. It's local, it's specific, and you can just feel the joy and pride that these people have for white asparagus. It's amazing.
It was really hard to get footage from the museum. The lighting and the layout, though looking great to my eyes, look terrible in camera. Which really worries me because it shows this wonderful little museum literally in a bad light, which it does not deserve. This place is fantastic. The best part for me, though, was the enthusiasm displayed by the asparagus curator. She spent ages discussing with us how asparagus is cultivated and how it entered the hearts and homes of Germans everywhere. And so I know it might not look like it, but this is a lovely museum that will provide an excellent day out for the right person. I know it did for me.
And some of them are a little bit less family friendly, which I did not think I was going to be saying at a vegetable museum. But maybe now that I think about it, it makes sense. I don't know. So I'll admit, it's not exactly surprising that I liked it, but what did surprise me was I loved it. The Asparagus Museum was so much fun. From the passion of the woman who was working there to the variety of exhibits, you know, like getting to see so much, from the art to the actual agricultural history, talking about the different mechanisms that they've used and the different ways it was important in our culture. It was so good. I'm just absolutely blown away by how much fun it was. So consider that another win for the small, specific museum. In truth, my favorite, and I think the best kind of museum there is. I guess in truth, I didn't really learn why Germans love asparagus so much, but I definitely have broadened my appreciation for how much they love it, and it leaves me wondering, do I love asparagus now? Do we all? And if you learn just one thing from this video, let it be this. Green asparagus is a vegetable. White asparagus, a delicacy. And so I think, guys, that will about do it. This isn't a particularly big town and we sure have done a lot. And I guess kind of in conclusion, I'm just really surprised and I'm really happy. I knew the museum was gonna be a bit of fun. I didn't think it was gonna be that good though. And honestly, I didn't think anything of this town. And now I really like it. I've had a wonderful day. The food was a little bit better than I thought. The Ferris wheel was a welcome surprise. And though I guess the museum didn't answer the question of why Germans love asparagus so much, it sure did deepen my appreciation for how much they love it. And so I hope you've enjoyed it too. If you're a German out there, tell me, do you love asparagus? And also, do you have any insight into why? Have you been here? Would you come here? And I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever that may be.
Bye.
All right, like and subscribe. Oh, and before I forget, this technically kicks off the unofficial start of our Summer of Towns series. So if you've actually made it this far in the video, you really should consider subscribing, because we are going to be going to so many towns just like this, and maybe even a little better.